So, my name is Charlotte Mitchell. As introduced, I am 18 years old and on the Canadian women's national team for ski jumping and hoping to compete in the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Looking back on previous years of my athletic career, I have realized that it has been filled with quite a few ups and downs. Most of the struggles that I have experienced have been, for the most part, ordinary in terms of overcoming past injuries, performance disappointments, and the daily struggle to be the best that I can be. Unfortunately, as a female ski jumper, I've had to overcome a few more challenges than my male counterparts. For example, fighting to get my sport recognized by the International Olympic Committee. Female ski jumpers had petitioned to join every single Winter Olympics since Nagano in 1998, and each time they had been denied by the International Olympic Committee. In fact, ski jumping was the only Olympic discipline to remain men only. In 1991, the IOC announced that all future Olympic sports must be open to both genders, but the rule didn't apply to sports that already existed. And as one of the 16 original events in the Winter Olympics, ski jumping was definitely one of them. The reasons for this exclusion were rare, and when explained, did not make a great amount of sense. It was stated by an IOC spokesperson that women's ski jumping did not reach the necessary technical criteria, and as such does not yet warrant a place alongside other Olympic events, when in fact women's ski jumping had its own World Cup circuit as well as its own World Championships. As well as in 2005, the FIS president and member of the IOC said he didn't think women should ski jump because the sport seems not appropriate for ladies from a medical point of view, which is pretty ridiculous. In 2009, myself and 13 other women petitioned the BC Supreme Court of Appeal, arguing the exclusion of women's ski jumpers in the 2010 Winter Olympic Games in Vancouver. We stated that this was violating the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We were supported in our quest for equality on a pro bono basis by lawyer Ross Clark and publicist Deborah Foka. On November 13th, 2009, we took VANOC, which is the Vancouver Olympic Organizing Committee, to court, and on November 14th, our appeal was dismissed. I can honestly say that this decision broke my heart. Even though our appeal was rejected, the judge stated that women ski jumpers were being discriminated against by not being allowed to compete, but the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms did not apply to the International Olympic Committee or VANOC. The realization from this statement was very hard to grasp and a little disturbing. I mean, this was an event that was being held in our country and run by our government, and yet it was not required to abide by our laws. In our last attempt at justice, we requested to take our petition to the Supreme Court of Canada, but our request was denied. I believe that the most devastating part of this journey through the legal system after we'd been given our final answer was that most of the Canadian women on the national team were 19 years old and they all had to move on with their lives. They struggled for so long to try and get into the Olympics, and it was just time to move on. Unfortunately, this meant that me or my teammates had no one to mentor us. I was a grade 10 student, 15 years old, and I was the most senior women's ski jumper in Canada. Even with this major setback, I decided to continue training just as hard and maybe a little bit harder than I have been training before. I would not be in the 2010 Winter Olympics, but this did not make me love the sport any less, and it definitely did not destroy my Olympic dream. It just meant that this dream would not be fulfilled right away. I never gave up hope that one day I would be in those opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games. On April 6, 2011, it was announced by the IOC that along with 5 other events, women's ski jumping would make its Olympic debut in the 2014 Winter Olympic Games in Sochi. Even though this fight for equality and a right to compete had taken many years, as well as a human rights court case, it was demonstrated what can be accomplished when you never give up. The lesson I have learned and have taken away from this experience would be honestly that anything is possible when you set your mind to it. I think that this lesson is applicable to not only ski jumping or sports or athletes, but to life in general. We all have to face certain challenges where we are underestimated, excluded, and discriminated against. Another thought that comes to mind when looking back on this court case is that I doubt we would have made any leeway or achieved what we did if we, as female ski jumpers, did not stick together. It did not matter what country we were from or what our age is. All that mattered was that we had one dream, one goal, and we stuck to that and allowed this dream to drive us forward. As of now, I'm currently training at Canada Olympic Park up on the ski jumps. I am on the national team now. I just got appointed, so I'm pretty excited. Hopefully this summer I'll be able to travel through Europe. I think there's 3 Europe trips planned, so I'll be able to compete in the Grand Prix, and hopefully that's where I'll be able to qualify for the Olympics, so I'm pretty excited.